Welcome to Manhwa Recaps, spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. Huge shout out and special thanks to the channel members. The manhwa starts with a woman saying that since monsters are approaching, they're looking for new rays of hope, and that this is now everyone's time to become a hero, and they should begin their stories right here and now, and to make sure to call the Hero Association, as we see the billboard playing the ad on top of a building. The woman's looking up at it. Some people in the street say that she's so cute, and it must be a new ad. The other guy asks why she doesn't just go do raids, when she's an A-rank healer, as they haven't heard of her ever being on a raid. We see her sitting there, feeling embarrassed, and we learn that humanity was plunged into chaos with the invasion of monsters, and that humanity had opened their eyes to a new power, and everyone received superpowers, manifesting what we know as aura. The color of the aura told them their power levels, and it became the standard of categorizing these people's ranks. They called these people, who were their only hopes against the monsters, heroes. Looks like a cross between All Might and Batman. A director then yells cut, telling the woman that her face is too serious, as she's meant to be the mascot, and she can't even do the one thing she's here for, which is smiling. She says she'll try again, and that she's sorry, as we see her eyes are devoid of emotion. The director says that she's even prettier when she's smiling, and now she should smile like a mascot should. We learn that her name is Cure Girl. They start filming and taking pictures of her, saying that this is perfect and she should try smiling even wider, and she says this is not the life she wanted as a hero. She had dreamed of it ever since she was young. She manifested her healing powers in middle school, and when she was registered as an A-rank hero, she was overjoyed to finally be up there with her idols. But it did not go as planned. As we see someone spitting up blood, she's doing her best to heal them, and her hand is shaking really bad. As everybody else is bleeding out on the ground, she sits there as the guy's begging, yelling for her to heal, and he looks up at her, saying that she needs to hurry, only for his head to get popped like a zit by a creature. She says that she was paralyzed with fear and couldn't do a single thing during her first actual mission. She was a hero who couldn't even use her skills in the end. The only worthy thing she had was her appearance. Which is why she went from one shoot to the next. She stayed hidden from people because she was afraid that they would notice that she was powerless. As she's walking forward, she bumps into something and looks up, seeing that it's a telephone pole, and it even calls her an idiot. She asks why she's getting flamed by an inanimate object, then hears a weird sound and looks down to see that there's a cat in a box. Saying that it doesn't seem like a street cat. She wonders what kind of terrible person would leave it here, and we see its eyes starting to tear up, and on its collar is the word stronger. She's confused by this and looks over to her side, seeing the stronger Jim. Apparently the translators, or the typesetter had some miscommunication since it's not supposed to be Easy Fun Jim, I believe. I will also refer to it as Stronger Jim 2 for future reference. She says that it must belong there. She heads over, asking if there's anybody here. She pops her head in, saying she has brought the cat from outside. We hear a man telling another one to lift his butt, and the dude says that it hurts and he can't take it anymore. POV, listen to this with your eyes closed. He tells him to endure it because it's only going to hurt for a little bit, and the first time is always like this, and he should just do his best to hold out. The woman sees a very awkward scene and starts to feel very confused. And the guy who is on the floor getting trained is blushing like an absolute freak. He tells someone named Malwang that there is someone here. Malwang turns, which startles her, and she says that she's come to the wrong place, and that they should continue with what they were doing. He stops her before she can close the door and asks if she's a gym baby, telling her not to be scared and to come on in. Bro is really the Tiger King. Hashtag free Joe Exotic. She wonders what's up with his nasty ass tiger outfit, saying it's gross. She is just a hater. She tries to explain that it's because of the cat. And when he looks over, Chad is standing there like an absolute Chad, and we see it with the glasses on, even drinking some coffee. Malwang glances at it, and the cat says it's exactly what he thinks it is. We finally learn the other man's name, and Malwang tells him to go get their customer a serving protein. Kiwung says on it, and the girl is just confused. Malwang then says that her arms are like noodles, and tells her that she must be thirsty. He hands her a cup and then starts inspecting her body. She says that she's not feeling well, and he tells her that her knees are about to give out, and her ankles are way past their expiration date, and she would have been dead had she delayed her visit any longer. He tells her not to worry, as he'll make it very easy for her. She asks what he's talking about, and he starts smiling, asking what she thinks, because he's talking about personal training. She says that she's not here for that. Then, he immediately tells her to hit the squats, and for some reason, she tags along. She tells him to listen, but he doesn't. He gets her to do deadlifts with little dumbbells. He even gets her to do the bench press, telling her that she needs to continue, and he'll give her a 1-minute break now. He says 2 more sets and she'll be done, and she says this guy's not listening to her at all, as it has not even been 10 seconds. Her phone then starts beeping hella loud, and when she picks it up, it starts to shoot out a red light that creates a hologram, saying emergency, and that there is a B-rank monster nearby, and there's only a single hero within the area. She wonders why there's a monster alarm right now. She says it's very close, and she's the only hero here, and she wonders what to do. Her hand's shaking, and she says that even if she were to go, she doesn't know if she could do it. Manhwa asks if she has to shit, because she's shaking. He says the bathroom's on her left, out the door. She tries to explain that's not it. Then decides to herself that it would just be pointless, and he tells her to go. She's surprised by this, and she tries to say that even if she does go, he says that he knows she wants to, and she should just go do that instead of holding back. And she shouldn't regret it later on. She's surprised by how insightful he is. But instead, he was talking about her taking a shit. As he tries to give her some toilet paper, she's already gone. He says that she must have been in a real hurry, and the bathroom is out of toilet paper, so that's gonna be unlucky for her. We see her running down the street until she comes to a stop, as people are screaming about the monster. She looks over at it, saying that there's no other hero here besides her. And we see the B-rank monster called Nanomon, whose real name is Betty. She says that she needs to do what she can. She tells everybody to be careful, not to bump into each other as they're running away, and to stay orderly. As Betty starts to stomp out a girl's life, Cure Girl sees this and is surprised and screams no, as Betty tells her to bite the curb. She says that she is the only one here who can help, and she wonders what she's doing, and that she has to go because she's a hero. She starts gritting her teeth. She says that she just needs to force herself to do it, like when she poses for the camera. Then she hears someone tell her to run. She immediately opens her eyes, dashing forward, grabbing the girl, saving her from Betty's attack. She can't believe that she moved, and as she slides across the ground, Betty looks over at her. She asks the little girl if she's okay, and the girl recognizes her, saying that the monster scared her really bad. As Betty rears back his fist, coming in for an attack, she closes her eyes, afraid. But of course, the Tiger King shows up and hits the monster, sending it flying backward, crashing into a nearby wall. She says that she's glad there was a hero nearby, only for her to be surprised, as Manhwa says, "My goodness," and he starts stretching, telling her not to worry as the alpha male is here. And he told her that the bathroom is on her left, out of the door. Cure Girl yells, telling him to look in front of him, as Betty's coming in for an attack. And it hits Manhwa straight in the face, causing him to spit out blood. This time, he gets sent flying backward, but he manages to just catch himself before he goes too far, and throws a rock, hitting Betty in the face. He then starts to pick up more and throws them one after the other. Betty lets out a scream, coming in for an attack, which Manhwa dodges underneath. Then he blocks the next one with his hands. And Cure Girl is just surprised, she can't see his aura, asking if he is just a normal dude. As Bro is getting his ass whooped, she asks why he would do something so rash, and that he needs to get away because he's going to die. Bro is getting the Loki treatment, as he's getting picked up by his leg and treated like a ragdoll. Manhwa is still smiling, holding his guard up. And then he begins laughing, asking Betty if this is all he's got, calling him a lard ass. Cure Girl wonders if maybe he has some kind of secret weapon. And Manhwa says that Betty could never win against him because of one reason. She starts to smile, thinking he does. And he hits the coolest pose of all time, saying that it's because the A-rank hero Cure Girl is right there. Even the little girl is starting to look up at her. But Cure Girl is just confused, asking what he's talking about. She looks over at Manhwa, still holding the coolest pose of all time, and she asks if the secret weapon is really her. She starts shaking her head because she's anxious. And Manhwa's smile starts to leave, because she's just sitting there, doing nothing, as Betty comes in for an attack. Manhwa gets hitched straight in the face, and Cure Girl says that she's sorry. Bro does hella flips before landing headfirst, and she says that he's gonna die because of her, and she can't stay still forever. She's screaming, trying to get her power to activate, as Manhwa is getting absolutely bodied. Betty starts to come in for an RKO, I take it back. He begins hitting him with the 7-page Muda, as Cure Girl is crying, saying that she wants it to work just once. But Betty's attacks go out anyways, destroying the terrain all around. Cure Girl then begins to cry, and Betty's just sweating and a little gassed out. We see Manhwa laying there motionless, and his cool drip got destroyed. Betty then starts walking over towards Cure Girl, and she says that, like always, she has failed. But we hear Manhwa calling out to Betty, causing him to turn around. He says this hurts his self-esteem, asking if he's done already, as he acknowledges that he got him once. But he has forged his body for years with steel, and that he's looking down on it too much. Even if he's in this state, he's still the owner of the stronger gym. Betty begins screaming, as he goes in for another attack, punting Manhwa backwards into a wall. Manhwa starts to stand back up and laughs, saying that hurt more than he thought, and he's not saying that it's her fault, so she should stop crying like a baby. She says that she's the hero, yet she's being comforted by a citizen. As Betty raises his hand into the air, she pleads, saying that even if it's just this once, she wants it to activate. We see a purple aura starting to emanate from her hands. There's also a bright red light as well, and a giant explosion that soon follows. Betty is surprised, and Manhwa says that when it hits, it really hits. We see the aura starting to envelop him, and it even has a cross on his chest now. Cure Girl also has a little cross in her eye. We learn that her superpower is that it allows her to restore the health and heal the wounds of her target. And we finally learn that her name is Lee Ji-hyun. Manhwa laughs, saying that slaying a monster with a pretty girl who just awakened sure sounds fun. And Betty begins to sweat nervously, as Manhwa has one hell of an evil smile. Grabbing onto Betty's hand, he straight eats the piss out of him, saying that this is the absolute best. Betty crashes into the wall. He then rips out a giant pole out of the ground and says that he's gonna send him even further away this time. Betty then begins to scream once more and leaps off the ground directly towards Manhwa. But Manhwa swings the pole as if it was a bat, so hard that it even cracks the pole itself, sending the debris flying everywhere. But it also knocks Betty into a nearby bus. Manhwa asks why the hell the pole was so weak. And we hear Ki-woon calling out to him, telling him that it's time for the nuclear weapon delivery. As he throws something forward, Manhwa catches it. He says that he knew he smelled something, and since the year 1986, they have been boasting the history for 40 years of their tradition, which is Jangcheongdong. Ji-hyun is completely lost. And the simple explanation is that it's jumbo pig trotters. Manhwa begins eating away at it, and he says this is the shit, and you can just feel the protein hit every vessel in his body. And he can't stop eating pork. Betty is starting to regain consciousness and looks forward. Betty runs in, hitting Manhwa with a punch to the gut, but Manhwa smiles. Betty is surprised to see that he didn't actually hit him, but rather the jumbo pig trotter. Manhwa says that they say you should leave even dogs be when they're eating, and asks if maybe Betty wants to eat some too. And starts beating him, telling him that he should taste the protein. Then bonks him straight on the head. As Betty comes in for attacks, Manhwa starts sidestepping them, and then replies with his patented leg press kick. As Betty is still roaring, Manhwa gets close, grabbing onto his stomach, and puts the pig trotter in his mouth, slamming it down, saying that this is the mouth lot pull down. Betty tail swipes him straight in the face, and as he starts to spit out blood, Manhwa laughs, saying that he's not going to stop here, as they continue their fight. He and Betty start trading blow for blow with one another, and I honestly can't tell who's winning, because it's low-key very goofy. Ji-hyun then starts to activate her ability once more and uses heal. As we see it starting to form around Manhwa once more, treating his wounds. He then leaps into the air with the pig trotter behind him and lets out a primal scream. Betty does as well. And Manhwa comes down with an absolute bomb of an overhand attack, destroying the hell out of Betty. Ji-hyun just looks relieved, as Betty is laying on the floor. Manhwa tells her that her story starts now, saying that this is how she said it in the ad. Jihyun says that she had a premonition that something was different this time, and she starts to smile brightly, saying that he shouldn't joke at times like this. We then see her sign a contract for the stronger gym. With her bloody fingerprint, she puts it on the contract, only to be surprised, because he pulled it out of nowhere. And Manwha starts to have that shit-eating grin, saying that a new member has joined. Kiwoong's so happy, bro starts throwing that shit back. And Jihyun starts cringing, saying that she had an ominous premonition it seems. As Kiwoong is still throwing it back, we get a wide view of Betty taking a dirt nap. It then jumps to Manwha telling Jihyun to stop messing around and to lift with discipline. As she's doing a deadlift, she asks what's going on and why she's even doing this. We get a flashback to after he forcefully made her sign the contract and he held it up to her. She tried to explain that she didn't, and he says that unlimited personal training sessions for $100 a month and $1,300 for a whole year. He'll pay special care to the personal training for her. He says that she just got a huge deal, as she's now on her way to become the healthiest life form on this planet. We see the weights drop to the floor, and he asks what she thinks she's doing as she has to lift the barbell with discipline. As we see her in pain on the ground crying, she says that she just wants to go home, and he said this is easy, but it isn't. She can't even put strength into her hands anymore. She says on the topic of strength, the other day she got a huge burst of power, and she hasn't felt anything like that since. But she was able to use her powers again, and she can't figure out the reason, but says it could have to do with Manwha, but for some reason she calls him the Horse King. I think she meant Tiger King. Never mind, bro is a real person, what the hell, and that if she spends time with him, she might be able to find that power once more, but this should not be it. We then hear the cat from outside as it walks over brushing up against her leg. She asks the cat if it's comforting her, thanking it. Manwha gives the little cat a thumbs up, saying that this is some carrot and stick action. She then freaks out because Kiwoong puts a cold water bottle to the back of her neck. He says that the first time is always hard and that she should stay hydrated. She thanks him. He says that even if it's hard now, the sweat she spills will become her muscles in the future, and if she sows the seeds, they'll definitely grow. She laughs, saying indeed, as something drops out of his bag. She mentions it, and he says that this was supposed to be kept a secret. She asks what it is, and he says that it's a movie script that he's working on as an actor on the side. She asks if she can take a look, and he says of course. She's surprised that he's a villain and a minor one at that, saying that he must be disappointed that he isn't the main character. He says that he isn't, and it's a role that makes people hate him on and off the stage. But for a protagonist to shine, a villain needs to exist, and he finds fulfillment in playing his role, as villain roles are something he enjoys. She's so surprised that he has this kind of side to him and says that he sure is adorable. He has the strong mentality of someone who doesn't care about the opinion of others, and that she wants to get his autograph before he blows up. She then hears him making some heavy lifting sounds, and when she looks over, she sees him doing some very ass-to-grass squats. She asks if he's okay. Bro starts even making the ugly face, we've all been there in the gym. Manwha says he's a worthless piece of shit and asks if this is all he's got. She asks him what he's doing as he's getting crushed, and Kiwoong laughs, saying that this is it. She asks what he means, and Manwha still starts flaming the absolute hell out of him, asking if he's giving him that tough love. Kiwoong says just a bit more, and his wrist starts to look strained. Manwha tells him that he needs to make his elbow straight, asking why he's so weak, and that if he tells anybody that he's going to his gym, he's going to beat the shit out of him, because he's the package, and Kiwoong is just the luggage, and he needs to pack his shit and get out. I don't know what kind of boot camp screaming we got here, but it works, but Kiwoong says just a bit more, and then he overhead presses the entire barbell while screaming, and he starts begging Manwha to insult him more. Holy what a freak. Manwha asks if he wants him to work him to the point that he's shitting bloody diarrhea, his actual words. Jihyun is already thinking about going to a different series, while Kiwoong looks all proud and refreshed and lets out a crazy sigh. Her phone then starts to beep as he's still over there insulting him, and the masochist is sitting there enjoying it. It's a summon for a public support request, and that they're trying to fix the mess from last time. Kiwoong says it's time to head out then, and she tries to tell him that this is just for heroes, as he runs out the door before she can say it. She looks surprised, asking Manwha if he'll be alright since it might be dangerous. Manwha asks what she's talking about, saying that he thought she knew. and that Kiwoong is actually a B-class hero, which she did not know. Why did her alert only show one hero in the area then? We see a lot of the heroes working hard to clean up the debris, and it's anywhere between A rank to C rank heroes. Some of them are using telekinesis to lift blocks, while others like Kiwoong are just using brute force to clean the area up. Manhwa spots him, asking her if she's ready to get started. She says yes. We then hear a guy say holy shit as he recognizes Cure Girl. He says that he saw her face on the TikTok, as we see her doing some anime pose. But it's not just that, as she did a bunch of little trends to try to make the Heroes Association pop and dance to some very cutesy music. The guy asks if she can do it for him live, because he wants to put it on Instagram and it'll go viral. She tells him that she's on a mission right now, and he grabs her arm forcefully, telling her to stop lying, as he knows she doesn't do missions, and that she should just listen to him. She screams, and he says that if she won't do it, he says maybe she can shake her ass a little bit, and get some dinner. Manhwa yells out the food name, causing the guy to look over confused. He starts busting out the same exact moves that Jihyun was. And I'm just saying, his version looks way better. Bro is repping the Tiger King underwear. Fun fact, I have a pair of Tiger King underwear too. As he's dancing, they just start getting cringed out. And Manhwa asks if he wants to take him to dinner instead, and that he has some ideas in mind. Jihyun is getting a ton of second-hand embarrassment, and the guy walks over to Manhwa, grabbing onto his shirt, calling him a bastard. Manhwa says that they can go to whatever restaurant he wants, and the dude says that he knows it's him, saying that he's that bastard. Manhwa is confused, and we get a flashback to 3 years ago. Some kids are smoking in a no-smoking zone, saying that if something happens, they're saying that every time they do something, the kids cry and piss their pants begging for their parents. We see the guy giving us the flashback as we hear Manhwa calling out to them. He asks what they're doing in a smoke-free zone, saying that he'd like for them to put their cigarettes out, and bro is shirtless in the snow. One of the dudes asks if he's an exhibitionist or something, saying that it's winter. The blonde guy asks his friend why he's having such an attitude towards an adult, and apologizes to Manhwa, saying they didn't know it was a smoke-free zone. Manhwa then tells him that smoking kills their sperm count, and that he wants the rest of their cigarettes, and since it's over for him because of all of his steroid usage, he'll sacrifice the rest he's got in their honor. Then the guy rips something off, which is none other than the no smoking poster, and the dude laughs, saying that it's a smoke zone now, and then spits right on Manhwa's face. He then starts taunting him, saying that he must have gone deaf, asking if he can't hear him. As Manhwa sits there, this guy mistakes it as him being scared. The guy runs in, saying that he's going to hit him with a punch to get the tears out of his face. But the exact next panel is a puddle of piss on the floor and a cigarette in the middle. RIP bro is a psychopath. The guy is crying, and snot is running out of his nose, as Manhwa is giving him one hell of a death stare. Manhwa says he remembers him, asking if he finally quit smoking. The guy starts gritting his teeth, and he says that he's such a bastard for not being able to read the room, saying that he's been looking for him. As he's become much more of an adult since then, he begins releasing an orange aura, burning Manhwa where he's standing with a pillar of fire, which he calls cigarette fire for some reason. Jihyun yells for Manhwa, wondering what an awakened is doing to an unawakened. The guy says that he's not the same as before, and that he should probably receive some payback, and he can't even say anything now that he's burning alive. Manhwa then starts singing the song from when he was throwing out those moves earlier. Running through the fire, he hits the guy in the face, sending one of his teeth flying out. But it's not just that, the dude is now soaring through the air. He's continuing to sing the song and even adds little bits into it, making fun of how all of the dude's teeth are now on the floor. He says that he thought he could hurt him, who sculpted his muscles for years, with some power that he got without working. He doesn't even have common sense. But Jihyun is just saying no, he totally should have been burned. He wonders what kind of plot armor he has. We then hear another voice asking what this is, as they heard a commotion over here, saying he missed his stronger gym cutie, asking if this is fate. And the zesty warrior even throws out a heart. He was in the background of one of the earlier panels in a pink outfit. His name is a secret, so is his ability. But he is a field manager at the Hero Management Bureau, and says that he likes those with the Y chromosome. Never would have guessed. The Heart King says that it's been a while, and he's glad to see Jihyun, but she needs to get out of the way. Jihyun wonders what kind of story they have. And Heart King starts groping Mulwang's chest, saying that this body is so exciting and calls him darling. She can't believe that she's about to see some boy love, and wonders if this is the right series. But Mulwang is making an entirely different face compared to the Heart King. The Heart King then starts licking all over his shoulders, saying that it's so tasty, and Mulwang screams, running away, begging that somebody saves him, as the Heart King chases after him. Mulwang says that he doesn't want any part of this, as the Heart King yells, saying that he'll make him feel good like last time as Diddy taught him well. Jihyun asks what the hell he means by last time, and we hear the blonde-haired guy groaning. And she looks down to the floor, asking if he's alright, telling him not to move so soon. He knocks her backwards, telling her to stay the hell away from him, and that he won't be able to forgive Mulwang for what he's done to him. He starts to release even more fire, saying that he heard where he is, and that he should just wait, as he'll go burn his piece of shit gym to the ground. Jihyun's surprised that he's so angry, and tells him to wait, as he glares back at her. She asks what he means by burn it all, as she can't let him do that. He's the one who started it, and that he should be ashamed of himself, and he shouldn't use cowardly methods because he himself is lacking. He tells her to shut up, asking who she thinks she is, and if she starts yapping, he'll burn her mouth shut. She then starts hitting him with the superhuman law, as the Awakened will not use their abilities on civilians, but he already broke that, asking if he knows how severe the crime is, as it's obviously attempted murder, and if he tries to make more of a fuss, she'll stop him herself as a hero, but we see tears in her eyes. He runs at her with his fist on fire, saying that she's a bitch who only has her face, asking what she can even do. As she starts to put up her guard, afraid of the attack, she slowly opens her eyes after nothing happens, only to see bro got covered in some weird yellow substance. She's surprised, wondering what in the Kelly is going on, and we hear a creature asking where the person with the tanghulu is. As it starts leaving a trail behind, it says that its hands are shaking, and it feels dizzy, and it starts asking where the tanghulu is, saying that it needs it now, and we see a giant weird little dragon slime hybrid standing before her. The monster is called the Fat Hulu, and it is an A-rank monster. Its skill is called the Sugary Stomach Acid, and it immobilizes targets and suffocates them. She wonders why there is an A-rank monster here right now. It starts to shoot out its attack directly toward her, and she puts up her arms while screaming. The attack comes into contact with some kind of barrier around her, and Fatty is just confused, but so is Jihyun until she recognizes it. We then hear a woman telling her to step aside, as she is in the way. She traps Fatty with a cage made from thin air. Fatty is doing his best to try to melt the bars and squeeze through them. There is enough resistance that Fatty is completely entrapped, unable to move. Jihyun looks up, seeing the girl floating in the air, asking if she is the S-rank hero, Yura. She tells her not to overreact, and we learn that her full name is Kim Yura. Her skill is form implementation, and she is a freelance hero who has quit the association. Fatty starts to scream, but we see his body starting to actually wrap around the cage, and Jihyun is just wondering what it is doing. It manages to get its arm out, reaching toward her, and she says this is bad, as her powers aren't working. Yura calls him sticky and disgusting, and starts to form something in the air above her. She raises her hand into the air, saying that it is repulsive, telling it to piss off. Fatty is confused, reaching his little chubby hands up, only to get smashed by her giant air hammer, sending his chunks flying around. Jihyun covers her face, then opens her eyes to see that he just got evaporated and says that she is amazing. Yura says that she looks familiar, asking who she is. Jihyun gets excited, saying that she has seen her at the association before and tells her that she is Cure Girl. Yura says that she didn't recognize her, but then says that she's the clown from back then. Jihyun asks what she means, and Yura is looking around for somebody, saying they are not here either, asking where they went. We then hear Mulwang screaming for dear life. Heart King is wrapped around him, trying to give him smooches. Bro doesn't want any part of this. Jihyun asks the Horse King what is happening, only for Yura to hit the Heart King, sending him flying away, pretty much just team rocketing this guy. Yura says that he can't do anything without her, and there is no need for him to thank her. Then she spots Jihyun touching all over Mulwang's arms, comforting him while he is bawling his eyes out because he almost just got diddied. Something snaps inside of Yura, as she gets pissed. Wang says that he was so scared he barely managed to lose him, only to spot Yura there, releasing her aura, and he gets excited. He starts to walk over, asking how long it's been and why she's not coming to the gym anymore, only for her hammer to hit him straight headfirst into the concrete floor. She calls him gross, and Jihyun says they must know each other. A yellow substance grabs onto her foot. It's none other than Fatty, who's back, saying that hurt. Turns out she didn't kill him. He goes in for an attack, which Wang manages to grab Jihyun and get her out of, telling her to be careful. Yura is starting to feel like a princess because he's carrying her, and he says that was really dangerous, asking if she's okay. She says yes and thanks him, and then he laughs, saying that she's welcome. Yura mistakes this as them flirting and starts to get even more pissed. She starts to say, "Look at this bitch acting all innocent," and that she's nothing but a grandma trying to act like she's cute. We then hear her yell "Oh my," and when Wang turns, we see her on the floor saying that she is tripped. She says she had an ouchie while giving Wang puppy dog eyes. It doesn't work, because instead Wang is begging for her to save him, as Fatty is coming in for more attacks. She clicks her tongue, and as Fatty crushes where Wang is standing, Yura tells him to read the room, as there's no place for it, so it should piss off already. We see Wang holding onto her waist, while she has Jihyun floating in the air behind them. She then drops some kind of refrigeration unit in front of it. Jihyun says that S ranks are really different. She starts to activate the fridge, telling it to freeze Fatty. We see it doing exactly that, and its skin color starts to slowly change, as it is becoming harder, and it has been frozen completely solid, unable to move. Wang tells her that she did a great job, and she says surely he's not just going to stay there. She puts some armor all around his body. He says this is great, and with this, he can definitely take it down. But she says there's going to be more, as she starts to put him inside of a cannon. He says this is it, and he's locked and loaded, while laughing like a maniac. She fires him out directly toward Fatty's mouth. Bro broke the sound barrier, as he's going Mach, flying straight toward the monster. It starts to break free of the freezing a little bit, coming in for a punch while screaming. Wang meets it with a shoulder charge, and they collide right there in the air. Fatty's chunks start to get sent flying around, as Wang's piercing straight through it, flying through the monster's arm, shattering it down the middle. He yells after sending it everywhere, saying that this is called the Fat Buster, as Bro completely destroyed the top of the monster's head, taking it off with him. Jihyun is speechless, but Yura looks like she expected as much. Wang lands on the ground, saying that this is the no more obesity touchdown, who named this shit. We then see a weird aura display, multiple of the colors around his wrist until it fades away. Jihyun spots this as well, wondering what that is, but says there's no way she saw it right, because he doesn't have any powers, and it must be wrong. Wang turns around and looks at the monster with a smile on his face. Yura can't believe he's inviting her to third wheel, and Jihyun says okay. As they start walking away, Wang says that he was really cool. She tells him to stop acting tough, while Yura just sits there. She's looking at the monster and says okay. They're then all looking down at the food on the plate, and even Kiwoong is here. Yura asks why he's eating pig feet again. Wang tells her to shut up and not to insult his protein. She says it's because he eats this every day, calling him a pervert. Kiwoong just thanks him for the meal. Wang says that he was going to pick the meat off for her, so she should stop complaining and dig in. She tries to play it off, acting like a tsundere, saying that since he's asking so nicely. But in reality, she's freaking out, saying that she's completely fallen. Only for him to immediately tell Jihyun to go ahead and say ah. Yura can't believe that he's doing something for Jihyun that he didn't do for her, asking if he's serious. Jihyun says she's fine and she's not that hungry, only for her stomach to start growling loudly. Wang tells her to go ahead and look over. Kiwoong asks if she really doesn't like the food, and Yura tells him to shut the hell up and let her starve. Jihyun says it's because she's on a diet, and she doesn't really want to tell them it's because she has anorexia. Wang says that extreme diets are not allowed, and a nutritious meal is required after exercise, as good food creates a healthy body, and she should take a bite and treat it as 3 sets of 10 reps of eating. She tells him that she's fine, and he slams the table, telling her to do it now. She starts to nibble on it, and her eyes immediately open wide, saying that this taste sure is amazing. We get some Food Wars style imagery of a pair of pigs dancing, and she says that this is a tango of passion. She says it's delicious. Wang asks her to repeat it, and she says this is really gas. He says it's nice to see her dig in. Even Yura joins in, saying that she won't lose to her. Wang says this is great. Bro loves pig feet. Ki-woong is just fourth wheeling at this point. Back to the gym. We see Jihyun in the middle of an exercise, which I can't tell what it is because she's sitting down. Maybe good mornings, or box squats. She puts down the barbell and lets out a sigh as she's looking at herself in the mirror, and she looks much better than she did at the start of the series. She says that it feels like she's completely changed, and she's been eating well, and she doesn't feel depressed anymore, and that it must be thanks to Wang's exercises. Somebody then starts to stretch their hands out to her, which she senses and turns, only to see somebody with a Shin ramen box on their head calling out for their brother. It causes Jihyun to scream in panic, running backwards asking them who they are, and they take off the box, crying, saying to please stop their brother. Because they lost their parents at a young age, her brother did everything to fill in, and he would work day and night, and he even saved up enough to send her abroad for school. Thanks to him, she managed to graduate from college, and she only returned to Korea a few days ago. But her brother's become weird. He just suddenly says this weird catchphrase out of nowhere. He also doesn't even come home often. And that she decided to see where he goes, so she disguised herself and followed him, as she learned from Metal Gear Solid. And Jihyun says that she doesn't need to hide anymore, with the girl scream saying no, and she saw it with her own eyes as she was peering into the gym. She put her face to the glass, as she was surprised by what she saw, as it was none other than a cult leader with tiger print underwear. Horse King, you're catching strays, bruh. And she's certain that her brother's been brainwashed by this cult leader. She says that she's definitely talking about Wang and says that it's a place for people to gather and work out, and that she's misunderstanding it. Only for them to start hearing some very demonic training sounds, and they both look scared wondering what the sound is. And we see a red curtain and people lifting weights. As somebody keeps saying die in hell, and of course, there's an evil silhouette that looks as if they're stabbing somebody, causing blood to fly out everywhere. Jihyun decides to take action and moves the curtain away asking them what they are doing, only to see four absolute freaks in front of her glaring towards her. She looks terrified, and they say that the time has come, and they stretch their hands out towards her singing to go to hell, only for them to dash past her and past the other girl, dashing outside. Jihyun's confused, and the girls just screaming as they see tons of blood left all over the floor from where they were, and the other girl just dies on the spot. You had a short screen time, you will not be missed. And she just wonders who they were, so they both decide to follow them. The girl says that she's not certain because of their makeup, but she's sure that her brother is one of them. Jihyun says that she sees, and she doesn't think she should let them be. As we see them all walking away, they're reaching towards an old lady with a giant bag, and it looks very ominous, and they're yelling, telling her to give it. Jihyun tells the granny to watch out, only for the granny to turn, and then we see them carrying her away, and the other person's grabbing the bag. Jihyun and the girl still wonder what the hell is up with them, and we hear them tell the grandmother to go to hell, and Jihyun says that she knew something was off. The girl says that it's happening again, as they follow them. We see a ball stuck in a tree with a little boy crying, and one of them raising his weapon into the air. Right above the kid, looking like he's about to kill him, Jihyun runs and screaming no. Only for the guy to swing directly towards the child, and we hear a loud sound. Turns out that he hit the tree, causing the ball to fall down, and the kid immediately looks relieved. One of them stretches the ball toward the kid, saying that it was the soccer ball guillotine, and that the kid should get ready because he's next. Now they're very confused, asking what they want. Jihyun asks the girl if she wants to keep following them, and she says yes. As they do so, we see tons of rude people smiling everywhere, as there's a whole group meeting with perhaps some kind of event. Jihyun and the girl see them laughing and look worried, and they say that every one of them are gathering in this area, and that they're paying money for something, and that this might actually be a cult. If that's the case, they need to stop them. We then hear the girl from earlier saying die over and over, and she walks forward, and we see her on Jihyun's shoulders, telling the guy to go to hell, and as they pay money to enter, she bonks her head going in and just dies, getting carried away. On the inside, the girl said it was a perfect plan, and Jihyun tells her to come over here, as they're in this room. As the door slowly starts to crack open, we see a bunch of red lights shining on the stage. The people from the gym are all standing there in robes. They start smiling, and they say now the doors to hell have been opened. The girl said that's her brother's voice, and Jihyun asks if she's sure. A bloody object then starts to get carted out onto the stage, and the guy asks if everybody's ready. One of the men then grabs onto his mask and throws it high into the sky, and we see none other than Manhwa, telling them to go to hell. Jihyun is just confused, as the crowd starts going crazy at his appearance, and they keep yelling go to hell and die. As we see all of the members from Stronger Gym too, even Heart King, Ki-woong and Yura are there too. Jihyun wonders if they're all in this together and if Manhwa is truly some kind of cult leader. One of the KISS members says that the King of Hell has asked for it, and it's time to give him the sacrifice, as they pull the curtain off of what's on the tray. Jihyun wonders if it's actually going to be a person. As Manhwa raises a meat cleaver into the air, he says that he'll do it with his own hands. He then starts to swing it down, and we see blood flying everywhere, as he cuts something directly in half, and Jihyun tries to stop it, but it's too late, and she only sits there in horror, as the blood splatters across the arena. All of the KISS members begin laughing, telling everybody to be glad. This is what they wanted and what they asked for. Turns out it's ketchup, and they're throwing nothing but burgers around the crowd. People are catching them, and Jihyun's just staring at them. Manhwa says that now they have replenished what they need for muscle growth, and everybody should follow him and scream. And they start squatting, and the lyrics are mega deadlift up, bench press power lifted up, and it just continues on and on. As it turns out, it's none other than a charity concert for the band Megadeth, and that the entrance fee for the concert is donated to the improvement of the city, and that all of the things they saw the band members doing earlier were them just looking out for fellow citizens. They continue the concert, and they even hit a ridiculous T-pose that everybody follows, and the girl says that it's such a relief. Jihyun calls out to her, and she says that she was just worried about her brother changing, and she was stupid, as it was one big misunderstanding. And although he's wearing scary makeup, her brother is making everybody happy, just like he always has. Jihyun's now starting to see it all in a better light, and the lights themselves start to become a little brighter. Everybody's smiling, having a great time, and Jihyun says that there are some A rank and S rank heroes, but none of them matter. These people right here have the ability to make others happy, and that this moment truly shows that they are all heroes, and she gives us a very warm smile. For some reason, they start screaming, and the girl is crying again. And we get another good look at all of the band members, and this guy's rowing his guitar, the guy with the drums is using dumbbells, this guy's squatting his instrument, and the singer is just ripping into pouring his soul out. It then jumps to the building from an outside view, and we go even further and further until we're looking at our pale blue dot, and then from that, somebody's targeting onto it from a spaceship, and they have a shit-eating grin, as some kind of weird pyramid structure is heading straight towards Earth. This makes me want to go get a burger. A little later, we hear them tap their shaker bottles and they cheers one another. And the dude says that the concert today was awesome. The reactions were pretty good during Manhwa's part. Manhwa says yes, and especially at the ketchup, only for them to spit their drink out on him. The dude asks if this is what he meant, and Manhwa starts grabbing his face, screaming. He then starts chasing the long-haired guy, telling him to get back here. And he just tells him to try catching him whenever he can, and laughs. Yura asks what they are doing, and Jihyun just wonders who they are. The dude says that even the Great Horse King can't catch him, and he sure doesn't look up to his name. And the little sister tells her brother to apologize. Jihyun then realizes that's her brother. And as Manhwa is chasing him, she says there's no way, asking if these are really the same people from the Megadeth band that she just witnessed a second ago. Because they look nothing remotely similar to what they look like in their makeup. Jihyun says there's no way they're using those faces like that, and Yura says that she already told her they're losers. Manhwa is breaking this guy's back like he was Bane from Batman, and says that he should try messing around with him again. He then feels a sensation in his ass, and immediately understands that he needs to go to the bathroom. He leaves the guy's corpse, saying that he'll finish dealing with him when he's back from the bathroom. And Ki-woong says he wants to go with. What a weirdo. As they're walking over, Ki-woong says that Manhwa seems very excited today. Manhwa says it's not like that, and starts laughing. And then we hear a woman call out to them. And when they turn, She looks very nervous and has her phone in her hand. Manhwa wonders if this is his first ever female fan. And the girl starts to ask him if it's okay, and he misunderstands it as her wanting to take a picture, only for her to smack the piss out of him instead. And she asks Ki-woong if he has a girlfriend, because she saw him at the concert venue earlier. Poor Horse King. The girl gives her number to him, saying she should call him later, and Manhwa just cries some manly tears. A bit later, we see the girl's brother saying apparently the concert donation was safely delivered. And Jihyun says that even if they look funny, they truly are warm-hearted people. Yura says that the two of them have really big influence, and that they're very close friends. And she asks which two she's talking about. She says she's talking about Manhwa and the bass player. They went around helping those who lost their families or were harmed by monsters. Those who were in their favor back then gathered to create a band, and they used the concert funds to help those who were struggling, just like those two did for them, again painting them in a very warm light. Jihyun starts to smile, saying that the Horse King is quite strange. And when someone sees him, they want to follow him, and he's someone who spreads good energy. And perhaps that's why when she's with him, she starts to feel happy. Yura can't believe that she's acting like this, seeing her as competition. But Jihyun says that it seems like the two of them have been together for a long time. Yura immediately 180s her personality because she hears the word together, and she starts to think about when she first met him. We see a very chubby version of her working on the Stairmaster with her pump cover on, and she tripped and fell, landing on her back. The other gym goers noticed her and walked over, and we see her struggling to get back up. And damn, she has lost a lot of weight. Manhwa calls out to her, saying that she's been training for over 3 hours now. She tells him to leave her alone. He says that there's nothing to be embarrassed about, and he might look like this, but he's the owner of the stronger gym. And she should just trust and follow him. She then yells, telling him to piss off, calling him a horse-headed bastard. He turns into an actual horse, asking what she means. She asks if it's funny to watch a fatty waddle around, laughing behind her back. She wants everyone to stop watching her. He asks why she thinks they're laughing. And she mistakes them having a great time working out as her just being a pig. When in reality, that's not how it is at all. Because they have two different views of the room. Manhwa tries to tell her there's been a misunderstanding. And she hits his hand away and starts to run out of the building. He sees her running away. Some other time, back at his gym, she's on the Stairmaster once more. When she goes to fall backwards, she feels something catching her. And we hear Manhwa saying she's full of fighting spirit as always. Bro has been on the nastiest dirty bulk. Yura was surprised, and he says he tried something new. And he went on a yummy restaurant tour. And he's forgotten what it feels like to be this full. She asks why he's doing this, because everybody's going to stare at him, but they'll judge him as much as they want. While he's in that form, he also cannot be loved at all. She begins crying. We then see somebody drop their backpack onto the floor. And it's none other than the girl's older bro. Then the bass player asks Manhwa what's wrong with him. Yura says that she told him, and now that he's also going to get flamed. And instead, the bass player asks if he can try hitting him. Manhwa says that it won't be easy, as he's completely full. Then everybody starts surrounding him, telling the rest to come look at Manhwa. Saying that bro is curvier than a model. Bro starts eating the glaze. And Yura is just confused as hell by the situation. Manhwa asks if she understands it now, as people's points of views don't change that easily. If people knew him, they wouldn't hate him just for gaining weight. As it's still him in the end. And he doesn't know why she abuses herself so much. But she should at least do it while having fun. Whether it's exercise or anything else. She's hesitant, but understands that he's right. And we start to see him personally training her. As he gets her to do some deadlifts. They also argued a lot. But they also pigged out together. And as time went on, she slowly got down to the form we're familiar with. Manhwa was very proud of it. As she locked in, she lets out a scream as she lifted the weight above her head. She was just surprised that she actually managed to do it. She even had Megadeth sitting there encouraging her. And she lets out a sigh, as it starts hitting her once more. She lets out a big smile because she's so proud of her accomplishment. She says that it's nothing much. And the flashback ends. She then wonders why Manhwa's taking so long in the bathroom. And the building starts to shake, as debris begins to fall from the ceiling. People wonder if there's an outbreak or a monster nearby. Because there was a loud sound. On the outside, we see a purple glow in the sky. And the civilians are looking up. Jihyun runs outside to Manhwa and Ki-woong, asking what's wrong, as they heard a very loud boom. Then Jihyun looks up, seeing that giant pyramid-like structure in the sky above them. And she wonders what it is. Because the base pro shop is invading crazy style. Ki-woong says that it was a notification from the association. And they need to hurry and evacuate. Jihyun asks if they're really just meant to leave that and go. And Yura asks if she's even really a hero. They ask Manhwa what they should do, telling him to say something. And he says there's no way. Jihyun's surprised that he's not trying to just headbutt it. He says that if it's that big, there's nothing he can do, and they should just listen to the order. Something then begins to beam down behind them. And when they all turn, the light gets very strong as it impacts directly on the ground. Something begins to emerge from it, saying that this is a fascinating sight. It is a form that they've never seen. It is the ultimate evolution made to survive in an unfamiliar setting. And that they are excited to see the strong warriors they've become. As it slowly steps forward, we see the Duolingo bird on meth, and the moon from Majora's Mask. It is called Commander 5, and it is question mark level, and we don't know its ability. And the commander says that they should hurry up and enjoy their harvest. And everybody else is kind of staring at him thinking this is some kind of prank. Manhwa then even lets out some laughter, saying there's no way this is real. From the pyramid, somebody tells Commander 5 that he's wrong. Commander 5 asks what they mean. And they say that those are organisms called humans. They're completely different beings, and they're not the seeds they had planted. And Commander 5 asks what they're saying. The person in the pyramid says that according to the analysis, only 10% of the warriors actually came into fruition. And even those are being eliminated by humans. Meaning that this farming has failed. Commander 5 starts to get pissed, asking how the hell they failed since it took too long to come here. Okay, the Duolingo bird and Pac-Man's creepy unk are two different people. As they call them parasites, saying they will eradicate them all. Manhwa walks forward, saying that he can't let him keep speaking. Jihyun asks what he's doing. And then he says that they should just stay still, as the circus member looking guy is treating them like insects. The bass player tries to get him to stop, as he obviously came in a weird spaceship so he's dangerous. As he gets closer, he stops and calls out to the rest, asking if they're really this scared. The Megadeth boys start to take this as a challenge. And Manhwa says that teaching kids is his expertise. I'm not gonna lie, I thought Commander 5 was huge. This is the height difference between 5 feet 11 inches and 6 foot. The Duolingo bird says that they won't stand by anymore as an uncivilized bastard speaks to them. Manhwa yells, pointing to his spaceship, saying that he's gonna get a ticket for illegally parking his spaceship. Duolingo turns, saying that he's already gotten 10. Only to see the ship is not actually being ticketed at all. And Manhwa hits him with a surprise kick in the back, sending him flying. As he crashes into a nearby wall, Manhwa asks who he really plans to eradicate. Duolingo gets pissed and runs directly at him, saying that he's going to kill him. Manhwa tells him to wait, because there's something behind him. Duolingo says that he will not be fooled twice. And then one of the man members hits him with a dumbbell tackle. Manhwa says that he should have believed him. As Duolingo is flying directly towards the other boys, they hit him with the double swing wombo combo, sending it flying away. As it was an alley-oop directly towards the bass player, who says that he'll finish things off. But instead, Manhwa shows up, saying that he's his. As he rears back his fist, he says this is his specialty, Horse King Punch. Duolingo locks in, and we start to see a bright blue light emanating in front of Manhwa's face. Only for Duolingo to shoot out one hell of an energy beam, directly towards Manhwa and the bass player. We don't get to see if they were hit or not, but Jihyun and the rest scream, no. The smoke begins to settle, as we see a giant mark in the terrain from where the attack came out of. And people in the back have been turned to stone, as if they had looked at Medusa. Manhwa looks down at his shin, asking what kind of joke this is, as his $1 million calf has turned into stone. we finally learn that the bass player's name is Dave. And Malwang turns, only to see him reaching out towards him, but now he is completely turned into stone. Malwang's eyes look shocked, as we see Dave's bass drop to the floor. He also begins to fall forward, shattering into thousands of pieces, crumbling. The band members and even his little sister start crying. Jihyun and the rest are speechless. As Commander 5 is now preparing yet another energy beam. The little girl runs over, grabbing onto her brother's head. The realization that shit just got real has clicked for Malwang. Malwang starts to recall all the memories he and Dave shared together, and how every single time he left, he was just so happy to see his warm smile, as the next time would be just as fun. As Dave's head looks filled with fear for Malwang's life, his little sister picks it up and starts bawling her eyes out, screaming. So do the other band members, asking what's going on. Commander 5 says that all their chirping is making his ears hurt. He calls them insects, only for him to stop his attack because something catches him off guard. Malwang starts to release his own aura, and then shoots up high into the sky, as he's showing every single color possible for the ranking. The guy in the pyramid watches this and laughs, saying this is interesting. As Malwang's eyes are filled with tears, he looks as if he's been completely blinded by rage. He then dashes off the ground, coming in with a punch straight towards Commander 5. Duolingo manages to dodge it, and the attack alone shatters the building behind them, and Jihyun recognizes it, saying that this light is the same as back then. He then goes in for another right, which gets sidestepped, and follows up an immediate left, which gets ducked under. Even just the attacks alone are sending debris flying everywhere. Malwang lets out a primal scream and comes in for more attacks, which Duolingo dodges, and he says that for an insect, he's not bad. But it's time for him to go to sleep. As he starts to go in for his own counterattack towards Malwang, we see it hitting him, sending a shockwave through his back, and he begins to spit up blood. Jihyun yells out for him, as it's his turn now to experience the 7-page Muda. He is getting hit so hard that it's creating ripples all over his body, and it sends him shooting backwards. He crashes into a wall, and one of the band members screams out for him. Duolingo looks impressed, and as Malwang starts to step back out immediately, we see blood pouring from all over, and he screams while coming in for another attack. Commander 5 starts laughing, saying that this is very interesting. Jihyun yells, telling Malwang to stop, and she begins crying, begging that he listen. And we see Yura's power actually hit Malwang. Duolingo is confused by the friendly fire, but we see that it was actually to send Malwang flying away. Jihyun yells, asking what she's doing, and we see Yura looking extremely panicked. She says that he's not in his right mind, and she'll do what she can, so they need to hurry and escape. There's only one opponent, but she's also an S rank, so she can't die easily. The pyramid then begins to show some kind of magic circle, and Duolingo looks over, as tons of enemies begin spawning in, as there is now a whole monster horde. The band members can't believe this is happening, and Duolingo clicks his tongue, saying that they are lucky, and unfortunately, he'll end things here, as he has places to go, and he tells his men to eliminate them all. As the circus has now pulled up, the pyramid begins to look as if it's warping away and then vanishes completely, as if it was never there. Jihyun looks completely overwhelmed by the numbers, as the circus begins screaming and completely overpopulating the streets. They start to run forward, and Yura asks why he's standing here, and they need to leave because they're in her way. Her barrier starts to get cracked, and Kiwoong notices this, yelling, telling her to dodge. As the attack starts to come in to kill her, a giant yellow beam shoots in from the back of the crowd, obliterating the monster in front of her, but also anything that was caught in its path. Yura turns surprised, and we see somebody walking forward, saying that he might be too early, since everybody's fine, and regardless, Third Knight in shining armor is here. We are introduced to the S-rank hero, 21st century boy, who is named Johan. His skill is Mecha Maker, and when it comes to machines, he can make anything. Yura asks why the hell he's so late and starts nagging at him, and then he spots a wound on her side and completely tunes her out. As he gets a better look, he sees it's quite deep, and he gets pissed, saying that he can't believe they left a scratch on his lovely fiancée. Jihyun is surprised to hear this word, and Johan begins to say that he will not forgive them, and even more weapons start to get set online, as he shoots out an entire volley of attacks towards the circus. And he says he can't believe they made his darling bleed, as he is obliterating these monsters. He screams, saying they all need to die, as he sends out a giant attack. The little girl still grabbing onto her brother's rock pieces, trying to put him back together, as one of the circus members comes in for an attack. We hear it collide with something, and then we see that somebody has actually stepped up and completely saved her from it. As he's grabbing its head, he looks over towards it and then pops it like a zit, sending juices flying everywhere. He immediately starts ripping apart each and every single one of the monsters with complete ease, and once he's finished, he picks up the little girl. Jihyun instantly recognizes him, and you should as well, because he has been in the background of a lot of gym panels, sitting behind the receptionist's desk. He's even been to the concert, but for the most part, he's always been here, and that it is none other than the manager, who we learn is named Manager Lee. He is a civilian and a non-ability user. Bro is just him. He puts the little girl down beside Yura and Dave's corpse, saying that he'll leave the two of them to her. She asks why he came back, as it's dangerous, and he says that she doesn't need to worry about him, and that he'll go deal with the monsters first. She realizes, after what she just witnessed, that he's not capping, as he immediately pops another one of their heads. The other Megadeth members run in, screaming that this is revenge for Dave, and a whole-out brawl ensues. Yura says that she tells them all that she won't take responsibility if they get hurt, but Jihyun comes in, attacking one of them, saying that she is tired of sitting behind and that she wants to help too, as they need to hurry up and save Malwang. Yura smiles, and we see everybody fighting in their own way. The Megadeth boys are ganging up on them like it's a JJK fight. Manager Lee is just making them kiss. Yura and Jihyun are working together to keep the little girl safe. Johan is also releasing his own attacks. Everybody is working together in unison, to a degree, fulfilling their own roles. After a bit of fighting, it goes quiet, and we see there's nothing but the circus troops' corpses littered across the floor. Johan then yells out to Yura and says that he'll give her a kiss, and she tells him to leave her alone. Jihyun asks if that's her boyfriend, and she says that he isn't. Johan then asks where that guy is, and he's talking about none other than Malwang, because he doesn't see him. As it jumps to a forest, inside of a pond, we see Malwang floating atop it, unconscious, soaked in blood. So far, there hasn't been a whole lot that's happened, outside of that last brief moment when things actually got serious. So this one's gonna be a bit shorter compared to the other videos. Just a quick section with my personal thoughts so far. The manhwa is actually a lot better than I originally expected. I went in not knowing it was based on a real dude, the Horse King, and honestly just assumed it'd be some weird goofy series after figuring it out. I'm assuming a lot of the comedy with him are real life bits from his YouTube channel, but it works way better than I thought it would. None of the combat really felt serious or impactful up until the very end. And that's fine, because the comedy is what carries the story right now, and it's good. It's genuinely funny. Definitely kept me entertained. The whole Megadeth band segment? Goated. And the weird little bits with Kiwoong being a total freak? Love that too. There are a bunch of these scattered throughout the story so far. Let me know what your favorite moment is so far, because there's a lot of good ones. In terms of character development, there hasn't really been much yet. Again, we're only 7 chapters in, but what we have seen is with Jihyun. She's slowly changed from being a coward to becoming just a little more confident, being able to use her power at will now. Slowly making her childhood dream a reality. That's about it for now. We also found out Yura had a weight loss story, but again, it hasn't been framed as something deeply emotional or impactful. More just background info. What did stand out to me, though, was Malwang turning serious after Dave's death. That shift was super cool. It gave everything we'd seen so far, every joke, every gag, a sense of build-up. It made that moment feel earned. Like all the fun we'd had was suddenly put into contrast. It hit. I think this series has a lot of potential. It probably won't ever go full dark or fully serious. It'll most likely just bounce back and forth between ridiculous comedy and little arcs of story development, maybe with an overarching plot behind it all. If I had to compare it to something, I'd say it's kind of going the Gintama route. And I'm totally fine with that. I also liked how Manager Lee finally got to do something. We've seen him plenty of times up to now, but he hadn't actually done anything until the final moments. And when he did, dude just rips monsters apart effortlessly. Like, why the hell is he so strong? I'm hoping they give us some kind of explanation for that, because it came out of nowhere and I'm kind of obsessed with it now. Also, I really hope Dave's death sticks. Even though we didn't get to know him all that well as a character, I still think that serious moment hit hard. Just the fact that the tone suddenly shifted after so much comedy made it feel important. It worked. I can't wait to see where the story goes next, especially if they keep balancing the humor with these little emotional payoffs. This is shaping up to be something special. If you've watched till the end, comment, Horse King, to let me know. Subscribe for more videos like this, leave a like or a comment to help the channel out. Thanks for watching.